Hello, Gypsy.
All right, guys, thank y'all for coming. Today I'm going to be talking about cannabis laws in the United States, and I'm going to start off with a little disclaimer. Try not to be the guy who's like, legalize pot, man. I'm not trying to be that guy in the class. This is just a national issue, and I will start by saying that I do support the legalization of marijuana, but not its consumption necessarily. So to get that out of the way, for the first time ever in our country, support for marijuana outweighs the opposition. I think in a recent national poll it was 54% support marijuana versus 46 disapprove. So, and that's going to have a major impact on the socio-cultural state of our country and within the next few years. And so to start off, it's important to know how cannabis became illegal in the first place. For years, up until 1937, hemp was the most grown cash crop in our country, which hemp is used to make textiles, fabrics, rope, biofuels, you name it. I mean, it's the most versatile plant we currently have in the world, and we're one of the only countries right now that doesn't grow it within our own borders. We have to import it. And it became illegal because hemp opposed the petroleum and paper industries, which were supported by Harry Anslinger, who was the director of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics. And some of the propaganda that they put out there to get people to oppose hemp and cannabis in general was it made white women want to pursue relationships with black men, or vice versa. It made black men want to pursue or make them want to rape white women, which is ridiculous. I don't have to say that to y'all that that's ridiculous, but racism at the time was allowed for such stupid things to be said. And so a couple of quotes from Harry Anslinger, which I think these are ridiculous, is reefer makes darkies think they're as good as white men. If you smoke a joint, you're likely to kill your brother. And marijuana is the most violent causing drug in the history of mankind. And these are all actual quotes from a pretty powerful man in our country at one time. And I think we like to trust the people that are in charge, but it's obvious that there was something more nefarious going on in this time in our country. And so although propaganda and racism and personal pursuits were a lot of the cause for it to become illegal, we now have a better understanding as a culture and as a society of its effects on our mental health, our physical health, and how we interact with each other. And it's really not living up to its bad reputation. And like I said earlier, its support is at an all-time high. And it may actually be beneficial to us in a lot of ways. There's a couple studies done. According to the American Journal of Public Health, which was funded by the NationalISsue of Drug Abuse, heavy marijuana use over, I think it was a course of 2 years, had no increase in mortality, which is basically, it didn't have any negative effects on their health. Their life remained the same, and their overall health remained the same. And a study done on identical twins, which is called a monozygotic co-twin control study, was done on 2 twins. They were male twins in their 20s, and one twin had been smoking weed for over a year heavily for pretty much daily, and the other twin had only smoked like 4 to 5 times in his life. And at the end of the study, it was shown that it had no negative impact on mental health, physical health, or their quality of life, or how they interacted with their friends and family. And this is my favorite one. I've been waiting to quote this one. Is according to the Journal of the National Cancer Institute, there were mice that were implanted with leukemia and several different types of lung cancer, and they were treated with cannabinoids. And cannabinoids are the active chemicals in marijuana, such as cannabidiol and THC, which is the psychoactive chemical in marijuana. And after they were treated with cannabinoids, their tumor shrank and the mice's lifespan increased. So, and this was a study done in 1975. And many other studies have been done since then and have all reached to the same conclusion. And so, to kind of start to wrap this up, I think we need to acknowledge studies like that and how the laws have an effect on our society. I think several of us know people that have been arrested due to marijuana, and I don't know if all those guys deserve to go to jail or deserve to stay in prison. And so to relate it to us, we're all young adults. We're about to be thrust into new jobs and graduate college, and maybe even have kids of our own in the next 5 or 6 years, which is a scary thought. But those kids are likely to grow up in a world where cannabis is treated just like alcohol, and we need to ask ourselves, how are we gonna talk to our children about this? Are we going to try to scare them out of it, or are we going to tell them how to be responsible and how to treat their bodies well and how to treat other people well? And that's pretty much all I got, guys. I think it's a big deal. Maybe not so much right now, but further on, I mean, there's 20 states right now that allow for medical marijuana. Washington, D.C. has medical marijuana. And currently Washington and Colorado last year just enacted recreational laws for marijuana that treat it just like alcohol. And so it's becoming a reality in our lives, and we need to start questioning how we're going to address it to further our society and make things better. So thank you guys for listening. Appreciate it.